in, you are welcome to ask questions in the chat. If you're in YouTube, actually YouTube or Facebook, you can just do it in the comments for David here. And we're going to start here in just a second. I want to make sure it's actually streaming because one time it did not stream. Oh, so now I always check it before I start because we don't miss. Yeah, we don't want to miss the very beginning because that's the best part. Introductions. And in fact, it says the video is live. If you're watching us, give us a hello, drop a hello in the comments so we know you can see us. Ah, there we go. Okay, and we. Oh, wait. Okay, we are live.
Hey, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Hello.
So, hello. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today, I am talking with David Pollack, singer-songwriter, musician extraordinaire from New York City, based in Portland. We're going to talk about all of that. Cool. So, thank you so much for joining us, David.
My pleasure.
So, we were trying to figure out how we met.
Yeah.
It was definitely a long time ago. I mean, my memory is that I remember booking you for shows out of Times Square, which was the haunted house in Times Square, right? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And then you remember that.
My very first and only, actually, although I've got to bring it back, the Green Catalyst showcase, which was about showcasing new talent. So there you go. You've definitely catalyzed.
Yes.
So
I remember that.
Yeah, that was God, that was so long ago, David.
Well, I think we met actually when I used to busk in the subway, and I think we met when I was busking in the subway one time.
Oh,
really? You got one of my cards or something. I think that's when it was.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, that's how good this guy is. Oh, other side. This guy right here. He's worth talking to if you see him on the streets. Yeah, busking works, you know. So right on. Yeah, cool. So you grew up in New York City and started playing guitar at age 12.
I did.
Yeah. So what was that like? What drew you to music?
Well, when I was like a little kid, my parents got me a Sony tape machine, a tape player with like a microphone. So I would tape songs off the radio when I was like really little, 4 or 5. And I would sing along to them, like karaoke on them. And I'd put them on these tapes called David's Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
And I think there's like 10 or 12 volumes of them. It's just like me singing songs off the radio, and it's great. Or it's me singing the Power Rangers theme song like over and over again. But that's when I really started to get into music at a really young age. And I always loved music. And then finally, when I turned 12, 13, around then, my dad got me a guitar around my bar mitzvah, and I started playing a lot. I went to this art summer camp called Bucks Rock Creative Arts Camp in Connecticut, and that was a big formational time for me. I met some of my best friends and played a lot and got really good. And something I used to do, which I still do, is I would take my guitar out, and I knew like 2 songs. I knew Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, and I knew Time of Your Life by Green Day. And I'd sing the songs over and over again, either in front of the Met or in Bethesda Fountain or at the 77th Street stop on the 6th train. I play them over and over again. And then when I started making money, I knew that I was getting pretty good. And then I would learn some new songs. And I started learning more songs. And then I started writing my own songs and kind of spiraled from there.
That's awesome.
I'd really say like the busking was playing in the street for money. That was like the music gym for me. That's what I was able to practice my best, because I was never really good at practicing like in my room doing scales. That just didn't interest me. I needed to have like some engagement, like some, the world's a stage kind of mentality.
That's what's great about New York, right?
Yeah, totally.
And people aren't afraid to talk to you, obviously.
No.
When you're busking. So does David's Greatest Hits still exist?
Yeah. does.
Yeah, are those hidden somewhere? They're going to be.
I think it's hidden at my mom and dad's house somewhere.
Yeah.
All the tapes, all the master tapes are there.
Yeah.
It'll get released somewhere. It's gonna be something else when those get released.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
tapes. Yeah.
And use them as a track and like do a remix.
Yeah.
That would be
a bad idea. I've been wanting to dig up those tapes for a while. I remember the last one that I did was called David's Greatest Hits, the last hit. I knew that was the last one.
That was the peak. That was the peak of your career.
The peak of my cassette karaoke career.
Yeah. Nice, cool.
Yeah.
And what neighborhood did you grow up in New York?
Upper East Side.
Which one?
Upper East Side.
Ah, yes. Okay, 77th Street, 6th Station. Got it.
Yeah. I was off of the 86th Street station, to be exact. That's where I grew up. Yeah.
It's very different now, right? You've watched New York change a lot.
It has changed, but my neighborhood, the Upper East Side over there, that stayed relatively the same. I mean, things have gone in and gone out. I mean, there used to be a V8, HMV store on the corner of 86 and Lex, and I loved that store. And that's went out years ago. Now it's a Best Buy, but a lot of stores have come in and out. But I mean, the neighborhood is still the same.
So yeah, I can see that. And actually Thomas Hutchings is in the chat. He said hello. He's a musician who's been in New York for a really long time too. But he's based in the Village. So shout out to Thomas. Thanks for joining us. So let's see. And then when you were playing with a bunch of different bands and you were playing clubs around New York when you were younger too, right? I hear you played CBGB's before.
I did. I played CBGB's right before it closed. I played there when I was like 15. That was a cool experience.
That was part of their, what was it called? What did you say it was called? They're like 6 to 18.
Yeah, I think from 6 to 7 or 6 to 8, they had like all ages spots. They had those. I played those a lot when I was really young. I played the all ages places that I remember playing was Don Hills. Played Don Hills all the time because they had all ages bands on Saturday night from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
And that was cool. Liberty Heights Tap Room, which is now the 6 Points Brewing Company in Red Hook. They had all ages music there on Saturdays, and that was a good spring point. CBGB's I played there once, but there were places in New York that had all ages opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for making all ages opportunities. I hope those are still there,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think a lot of them are. I mean, not that I know of anyways. I mean, some of them certainly are. Of course, now
Don Hills I know is closed, and CBGB's is closed.
Right.
Liberty Heights Tap Room is 6 Points, obviously. There's a lot of things have changed,
Yeah, I know. And that makes New York difficult. And so tell us about your transition to Portland and why Portland.
Well, I went to school at the University of Vermont, in Burlington, and I loved it there. I really, truly loved it there, but it got to be too cold in the winter, so I wanted to find a place like that to move. And when I went out to Portland for the first time, I fell in love with it, and I ended up moving here 3 months later because it reminds me of Vermont. It's very similar to Vermont, but doesn't have those like super cold temperatures in the winter.
I could definitely see that more space.
Yeah, it has the rain, and the cold, and I mean not the cold, the rain and the dreariness, and that's something to deal with. But it's not as bad as like 0 degrees,
Yeah, and in the nature, there's a lot of nature.
A lot of nature, yeah.
So
I love that.
I know. I think. Oh no, he came out of Nebraska, but there's been some big artists who have come out of the Portland scene, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Elliott Smith came from here. The Decemberists.
That's who it is. I knew
Decemberists,
or Oberst. I knew it was one of those two.
Yeah. Pink Martini. There's a lot of like people that low-key, Everclear. There's a lot of like low-key ones that you wouldn't think of that came from here. But
they kind of fit your vibe. I mean, certainly Elliott Smith, although I suppose your music isn't as depressing as Elliott Smith's, but I could definitely see that in your vibe of your music, which is very like cool. Like, how would you describe your music?
Well, my solo stuff, I would say I like to I feel like my solo stuff is like kind of beauty and simplicity. You know, it's very simple music, but
Love that.
when you kind of dive into it a little bit more, it's a lot more complex because I try to use a lot of like cryptic imagery with my lyrics, and I think that's what, but really like familiar, but intriguing melodic lines. It's very melodic, but it's very deep lyric wise.
And you are definitely, yeah, you're definitely a poet. Your lyrics are gold.
Don't you know it?
Yeah. Because, you know, if you don't have it's harder to listen to the slower melodic music if you don't have great lyrics.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, you nailed that. And I love that you post your lyrics on your YouTube videos, by the way, too, because, you know, when you got great lyrics, it's worth, you know, you want to see them. So
thank you.
Yeah, let's see. One of my favorite lines, actually, in Turning Grapes,
well,
which is
your homework.
Yeah, great. When the grapes, I don't know how it starts, but it's the grapes of wrath turn to wine.
Yes,
I love that.
Yeah, what a year it's been this week.
Right. Yes, that was the other one I wrote down. What a year it's been this week. Yeah, and that was written and released during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's the single, the one single that I did release this year. I've been working on a bunch of stuff, kind of sitting on it. But that's the one thing, and there's a really, really beautiful video, animated video that is accompanied made by a local Portland artist here named Courtney Knight, who I've actually never met in person, but we kind of did it all virtually.
Oh, really?
Like, you know, we had like a Google Drive doc with the production notes, and we go back and forth on it. And then she would send me sketches, and I okay them, and then she sent me the progress reports. And it's amazing. I mean, we've still never met, but like I got referred to her through a friend.
Nice. Yeah, I love the cross arts, you know, sharing. It's animated. I'm posting the link right here. The animation is beautiful, and it's a it's perfect pandemic song. So I wish I discovered it earlier, actually, because I think it definitely speaks to the moment. So back to Portland again. Tell us the difference between the New York music scene and the Portland music scene.
I think the New York music scene is like kind of like sex of communities. And it's so vast that a lot of people just don't know each other. But you kind of see the same, if you're in it long enough, you see the same people in the same places. But it's harder to get a sense of community there because everybody's so busy grinding. Everybody's got like 4 jobs just to keep their head afloat. And it's a little bit more competitive there because there's just not as much. There's so much incoming talent that a lot of people traveling into New York City, you know, that it's hard to it's more competitive to compete for those spots to get booked and everything else. But Portland is all based on community, and I really didn't know what true community meant until I really went to Vermont and then came to Portland. It was amplified. I mean, Portland, you know, everybody knows everybody in the scene. It's pretty small, but there's a lot of amazing artists here and a lot of people kind of doing their own thing. There's so many like independent, just like one of a kind artists here making beautiful music and collaborating with each other and having like community events. And the thing in New York, it's like you show up in New York and you're gonna make like a guaranteed whatever $100. You're gonna make $100, and you go to the gig and you end up making $50 at the end of the day. There's some people there, but there's like so much going on. Here, somebody calls you up, you show up, you're going to play for free, then you end up making $75 off tips and people just buying your merch and stuff like that. Just because people really want to support here. People tip really well. People really respect the community here. You know, people really love their artists here. It's just a great place. It's a great place to create. It's a great place to call home.
Yeah, I love that. I saw that in Nashville too. People are so. Have you been down to Nashville?
Yeah, I have. I was just there a couple weeks ago, actually.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, people are so eager to support.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. Yeah, New York, it just feels like, well, first off, you get it's hard to build community when you get people coming in. Like even at the open mics, you have people from all over the world who are just visiting, just there to play for like one time, so you're around that. And then, yeah, you've got the people who are hustling with their own day job that they just want to.
You're trying to get people out too to see music. Yeah. There's so many things going on that you could be doing 500,000 things other than going to your show.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep eyes on you,
Yeah, which is why personally I loved the pandemic, because now that everything's virtual, like I was able to watch your show, which I loved. I would have never made it out to that probably, especially in the cold, when it's cold. And in New York, like if I live in Manhattan, and if it's way out in Brooklyn, it's really hard to get me out there. I'll go.
It's even worse in LA. If you live in North Hollywood, you're not going to Culver City,
Yeah.
Like it's not happening. So, but it's similar. And if you live in Brooklyn, you're not going to go to Manhattan.
Right.
There's people in Brooklyn that like their whole vibe is to not go to Manhattan.
Yeah.
They might go to Queens, but they're not going to Manhattan.
Totally. But then you have to grapple with the G train. Do you really want to take the G train? It's gotten better since you've left. I will say that.
Yeah.
But it's still the G train. And G. Well, yeah. So, but all of that's changing. That's going to be all a relic because of virtual stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
totally. I mean, it's really changing the game.
Yeah.
It's going to be totally different now.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Where do you see things going to?
I see things going to I call it the macro micro philosophy, where there's small shows but with a big production. So, let's say, small crowd of 50 people there, but, multi-camera production, pro sound, and then there's, 1,000 people watching virtually.
Yeah.
And I think like the macro micro thing is going to be here to stay. Because I think people still want to see live music, but I think people are really going to have to pay and brave the elements to see live music, at least in the interim of the next, I'd even say 4 or 5 years. I don't see things changing anytime soon, but I see live music coming back. Live music is coming back here on a small scale. There's a lot of places that are attempting to do live music, and it's been pretty good. Small stuff, 50 people, sitting at tables. A lot of places are doing you have to sit at tables, you can't dance, you have to have a mask on when you're up from the table, that kind of stuff, and that's benefiting the singer-songwriters and the smaller bands.
Sucks.
What?
You can't dance?
You can't dance. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Footloose around here. I mean, you can't. It's really, especially inside. There's you'll lose a lot of places will lose their liquor license if they see people, dancing around. It sucks.
It's just it sucks. But I wonder if, speaking of Footloose, if there will at some point just be a rebellion,
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah. So, but and speaking of that hybrid model, so the show that I saw that you did was with the Couch Tour, is the PDX
Couch Tour. Yeah, they're cool.
They are really cool. And it was definitely a hybrid, and I could see that you were performing. There was a screen that you could see with everybody's face for the people who were Zoom on the Zoom.
I loved that. The first time I saw that was at the NBA, actually. The NBA was the first time I saw that. Have you seen in the NBA, guys, where they had the virtual fans?
No, I don't watch the NBA. I'm sorry to admit.
Well, it's cool, but that was the first time where I've seen anything like that. I know that's not music, but it's still that was my mind was blown. I was like, that's a great idea. And people could and they gave people the freedom. People could come in as avatars, they could come in whatever, but it was really cool. I'm like, that's the future. That's it. Because I like the virtual fans thing, and I like that PDX Couch Tour did that, and it worked really well, and I like that. And I see that being a big factor of the macro micro thing too, is having the chat, have the chat open, having the virtual interaction, but then also having real people there too. I like the
the hybrid.
The hybrid.
And you were really good at kind of shouting out the people on the Zoom, and I was like, I kind of wanted to turn my camera on just so I could wave, but I also, was in my pajamas or something.
I know.
So
yeah.
I still support you. I posted in the chat. I love the chat because I feel like
The chat was really good.
Everyone in the audience. I didn't do that before. Before I'd be sitting in the back, like woo-wooing. But now I get to kind of converse with the audience. So yeah, it's cool. I think it's here to stay as well.
I also see like an interactive thing where like people can like when you're watching Spotify, you watch Spotify on your TV and the lyrics come up, or like facts about the song or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that could happen in real time live. Like it would be like a teleprompter that you can see, interacting while you're there. And I think that when more and more time goes by, people are going to be more into having their face on as a fan if they want to do that. And that could be like a VIP feature to be a virtual fan, or you could just watch. It could be like a tiered thing, just like just like Patreon or any crowdfunding thing. Like you can get a virtual ticket for like cheap, or you get a VIP ticket, you could have virtual fan, or you could get a in real life ticket, which would be like very expensive. Like that. And you got, and that's a whole thing. But that's what I see. That's where I see live entertainment going.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah. And you're getting back to the fans, I think you're really good with the fan engagement. So so talk to us about how have you built your following, and how do you engage with your fans? How do you keep them engaged?
Well, I've been kind of grappling with how to do that this year.
Right.
I think this year's kind of changed everything with how I interact with my fans, and I think I'm still learning how to do that. But I keep up with a lot of my fans. I use Instagram a lot.
Yeah,
Instagram's really good. I'll go live on Instagram, and over the summer I was doing this thing called DP in the Neighborhood, where I would interview friends of mine who are musicians or just artists in general, and then I would have random fans come on and interview me, and that was really fun.
Oh,
do that, and so that would get some crowd interaction, and that was really cool. Yeah. I really like doing that. That's kind of taken a little hiatus now. We've gotten into the fall months, but I want to bring something like that back because I really like doing that. I love doing that interview kind of series. Something that I've been doing with the community, this doesn't like fully answer your question, but it kind of delves off more into the community side of things that I've been doing here in Portland. But I've been thinking about expanding this too, but I still haven't totally figured out. But I've been doing this thing called Jams for Mental Health here. With small groups of people. We've started doing it more online now because of the pandemic, but basically it's kind of like an open mic / I don't want to say like AA meeting, but something like that, like sharing session. Cool. So how it goes is everybody comes into the room or the virtual room and they take a number. It's a random number. And we go in succession of what their number comes on. So they'll come on. You have to talk about like how you're feeling for about a minute or two, and then you can play a song, or you can present some writing. Or what we have done that's worked really well for some people is we'll have everybody else play music while they can be writing while the music's going on, and then they share later.
Ooh, cool.
So that's been kind of cool. So this has been kind of like a healing community event / open mic. It's like kind of a new take on an open mic, and it's worked really, really well with small groups. And I've been like kind of pondering on how to like fully bring that into the virtual world and open it up a little bit more. But these are ideas that I've been kind of pondering on how to connect with my fans.
Well,
I think I'm in the development phase of this new virtual development phase more than rolling out, but I feel that I haven't fully figured it out how to keep in touch with fans during this pandemic, but these are my ideas.
Cool. Well, I always say development never ends. So, I appreciate your authenticity in that and thinking about it. And by the way, the Show Goes On Productions might love to partner with somebody for an event like that.
It's been really great. I mean, people people, it really brings people together.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a more interactive open mic, like a circle share open mic kind of thing.
Cool. So yeah, if there's, I don't know if it's public, but if there's a link you can share for that, we can always post it later. But I really dig that. And so, and you've used, now you don't have a website, but you're using Linktree.
I'm using Linktree right now. Yeah.
And it sounded like you had a really good reasoning behind that. So what was your thinking about Linktree?
I like the Linktree because I think it's very like, here's my links. Here's where you can find me. It's a really good like launch pad, and it's just less. And I think a lot of artists have been using Linktrees and been working off of their social media more than doing websites. I think like websites are kind of going towards being out of fashion in a sense.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
well, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree with you. And that's why I think it kind of relates to your fan engagement too, because you're more present on social. And so what's nice about the Linktree is that it's one place that has all of your socials. So you
and you can change those links. I change those links all the time. Something goes up, then I'll put that. If something goes live and I release something, I'll put that on the Linktree. If there's something interesting that a friend of mine has done, I'll put that link up. It's something that I can change really easily and really quickly.
Yeah, and it's low maintenance.
It's low maintenance. And a website's more high maintenance.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you. Yeah. And so now I know you've been you've been in and out of a bunch of different bands, and right now you're pursuing solo. So, and your Linktree is, and your social, I think too, is DB Believe. Or
DP Believe.
Sorry, yeah, DP Believe. So what's behind the Believe? I love it.
Well, I kind of had this like catchphrase that's kind of started. I don't know how it started, but I just always say believe. Like don't forget to believe. Believe. I feel like it's just like a positive thing. It's not like a spiritual thing or a religious thing. I'm just saying like believe, just for positivity. So I feel like I've kind of taken that as part of my new branding for, the social thing. But then I also have my band Double Play.
Oh yeah.
And that's like kind of another project that I started at the beginning of this year. That's kind of like taken a turn because of the pandemic. But what I'm looking to do is kind of differentiate some of my material to be like solo David Pollack material and then band Double Play material.
Okay, that makes sense. And so, what's the difference in vibe between David Pollack and Double Play?
David Pollack has more like the folky, lo-fi stuff.
Okay.
Singer-songwriter stuff. And Double Play is the more like pop punk, pop rock.
Ooh,
stuff.
Cool. All right. Groovy. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And let's talk about your YouTube for a moment while we're on social, because I love all of your videos. Very high production quality, which I think is really impressive. I want to know what goes into it, because these videos are stunning, and that includes the most recent one, which is animation.
Yeah,
and that one was just done from your living room, but the other ones clearly weren't. But they're really well done. Are you working with directors?
I am. I'm working with different directors on all of them. Everyone's had every video's had different directors, and that's been a really, really cool experience.
Yeah,
and a lot of, and in all of them, I've given them full reign.
That's
Here's my song, and just take it, and I just show up. It's been kind of great,
Artists, listen to that. You got to know how to collaborate. Knowing how to collaborate is so important, because it makes you look good. I mean, you're the song,
So I gotta say, I mean, I give full credit to like the directors and like producers that did these videos. I really didn't come up with any of these ideas.
Wow.
Pretty much. I've like okayed things, and I've looked at the storyboards and everything and come up with ideas, but like it's really, give you the call sheet.
Yeah. But it's definitely out of your song. Like, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
It's a stunning video.
Oh, that video was really fun to make.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, that was really great. That's what that I made in New York, actually.
Okay.
I made that in Brooklyn when I made that last summer, actually. We shot that last summer.
Oh, so you came back to the city
I came back to the city to shoot that. We we rented a studio in Bushwick, and and it was a bunch of my friends that I met through this like odd job that I had at this place called Kidville, where we did kids music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. We did
Random.
like mommy and me classes for babies and stuff like that, and sang to them. It was cool. But I met all these people from there, and the idea was the big reference was. Have you ever seen Lost in Translation? The
Yo,
movie?
yeah.
Okay, so Bill Murray, when he does for relaxing times, it's Centauri times. Those the whiskey commercials. So in those whiskey commercials, he doesn't want to be there at all. He always says like, I could be doing a play somewhere, blah blah blah. That character of his, he's doing it because he's giving the people what they want.
Right.
Because he's contracted to do this. So we wanted to make something like that. So we had the protagonist, the woman in the red dress. Alyssa, she did a great job. And
perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. And we wanted to make it like she didn't want to be there. She's doing this like stupid movie and stupid scene, and you have to shoot it over and over again, and she doesn't want to be there. And that's kind of really what the song "Give the People What They Want" is about. Is like, as an artist, do you give the people what they want, or do you give the people what they need?
Right. And, it's a testament to how strong the song is. I think that, you were able to collaborate with a team of artists who create something so beautiful. And
James Manzello was the director on that. And James Manzello. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, really well done. Now, did that cost you? Was it an arm and a leg?
No, it wasn't bad.
Because you collaborated.
Yeah, we collaborated. It wasn't bad.
Good, awesome. There's always another way to do it, because a lot of people think,
he cut me a break because he's my homie, and we were using all of our friends, on the set, and it was just a really, really fun day of shooting.
Sweet, yeah, and I think the messaging of that song is very relevant. I mean, do you watch the movie, make the movie? Is your life within the screen? I mean, especially right now.
Yeah.
Like, going into this pandemic, and as people are literally building their lives on the screen, so I mean, I could quote the whole song, or especially the whole chorus. So, but if you haven't heard that song, go out and listen to it, because I think the lyrics are beautiful, as all of your lyrics are, but they're very relevant to right now. Yeah. So that's one of my favorites, I think.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song. I think that's definitely one of my best.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful song.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But on your channel, you have the most views you have is 8,000 views for "Be With."
Yeah, that was a video that was shot in LA.
Okay.
And that was directed by my friend Jackson, who's a very close friend of mine. And he really took this over. And he brought all his friends on board, and we shot it in one weekend.
Wow.
And we worked really hard, and got all the locations, and it came together. It came together really well, and that was all him. It was all his idea.
Okay.
All the storyboarding and everything was his idea. That's like, fly down here. Here's the call sheet.
What was it like working in LA?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was very cool. I mean, we had the one scene that we were doing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
With the shopping carts and all the food coming on me, and the drone and everything. We all got the worst sunburns because the sun was so strong. We're in Van Nuys, and like we're in this like Target parking lot, and the sun is shining so hard on us, and we all got like, you should see the sunburn on Jackson's back. Oh my God, Jackson's neck. It was gnarly, dude.
That's hilarious.
Were gnarly after that shoot, but that was a fun shoot.
Yeah, it definitely has the artistry of like a short film or something. So,
and Jackson was able to pull through that drone. He had this friend who had this drone who was just kind of starting to, try to get drone work. So we got the drone for free. And the drone shots came out really well. That's kind of what made the video. Is there's amazing drone shots, like the one with me on the couch, in the backyard, and the drone comes to. That's an amazing shot. And then some of the shots of the skyline. We shot that on Mulholland Drive.
Really cool.
Yeah, we kind of were around. It was mostly like in the valley, but we did the Mulholland Drive up there. We did friend of his backyard where we did the couch shot. We did the Target parking lot for the shopping cart and me falling down with all the fruit and everything. Yeah. It was and then we shot in North Hollywood on one of those side streets of me walking.
Oh my God, fantastic. Cool. You've been everywhere.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting question. Do you think, so that one has your most views on your YouTube, 1,000. Do you think that's because of the song or the video or the people, or what do you think it is about that particular song/video that has made it your highest ranked?
I think it's the video.
Yeah,
I think it's the video. I think it's just a great video. It just looks great.
It's a good song too, but it's just so interesting to me that it's a breakup song and like and it's still, got because you're a poet, it's still got your poetry in it. But I'm like, if you think this is what I want to say to those 8,000 people. If you think that song is good, you really got to check out these other songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, man. And then and Creating Dying Life is another really good one. We shot that. That's in Oregon. Part of that's in Portland, and then part of that's on the Oregon coast.
Yeah,
and John Meyer did that video, and he's an amazing videographer here in Portland. Amazing. He's been doing a lot of great coverage of the Portland protests downtown.
Oh, nice.
A lot of amazing work. I should put him in the chat.
Yeah, we should shout him out.
Yeah, shout him out. He's really good.
Because I'll post the video link. What's the video you were talking about?
Creating Dying Life.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, great. So I'll post that. Yeah, that one did really good too. Yeah, and we can add links afterwards too. Totally. But yeah, shout out. I mean, I think that's awesome. So what has it been like politically speaking being in Portland right now?
Well, a lot of the protests are happening downtown. By the courthouses and like this 2-block radius. You think the news would make it think that it's everywhere, but it's really, really heated in that 2-block, 3-block radius downtown by the courthouses.
Have you gone to
some of the stuff has been in North Portland, pretty close to my house. I remember there was one protest that came right down my street, and I joined it because I was just like home one day. I just got out of work because I'm working from home now, and I was just like, screw it. So I just went and joined it, and we stopped at an intersection for 8.5 minutes, and that was really cool and empowering. But I'll tell you, I haven't been downtown for the protests. I just haven't gone. I mean, I don't really go downtown that much anyway, to tell you the truth. And I don't know. It's just those have gotten really violent. And I just trying to stay away from those.
What's the vibe like in the one that you marched in general? What do you think? Because you can't. It's hard, like you said, that what you see on the news is not necessarily what it's like in person. So what do you think about everything? Is it optimistic?
Yeah, it is optimistic, but I feel like the movement. My qualm with the movement, though, is what I have trouble getting behind is the movement is about so many different things. There's Black Lives Matter, abolish ICE, like all these things at the same time. So it's like, so I feel that a lot of people are like protesting, but for me, it's just in an unfocused way. Just focus on like one thing at a time, and I mean a lot of it has been for Black Lives Matter,
right?
Which is important. Totally very important.
Yeah, the same thing happened from what I remember with the Occupy Wall Street movement.
Occupy Wall Street was about so many different things,
exactly.
And that was also very unfocused. I feel like this movement's also kind of unfocused, and I saw that when I did that when I followed the protests that came down my street. That's kind of where I saw. And there's been protests all like small protests all over town, like people on street corners putting up signs, having like having tape around their mouths and kneeling down, and I mean you could see it everywhere we were driving.
Wow.
I mean it's really it got heated here a lot in the summer, but
Yeah.
it's kind of tampered down now, especially now around the election it hasn't been as bad because Joe
Really?
Biden won, and
Yeah, that's true. I know. Thank God.
it hasn't been as bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously the
But this has always been a really radical place.
Yeah. Well, and the work I think never ends. So, that's same with like development. I mean, development, not just for artists, for everyone, for art, for systematic, discrimination, that kind of development still needs.
That never ends. Yeah. We're a long way from there, but I think
So hopefully that will continue in a peaceful way. And it is kind of, it is, and it's hard because it's like, this is the time to have your voice heard. So it's like, you want everyone to be heard, but you also don't want to diffuse, the individual movements. So I think there's a challenge, but that's been 2020. Everything's just kind of been thrown in our faces and we're just trying to deal with it. So good luck to you and all of that, being out in Portland and everything. So there was so much we wanted to talk about. Is there anything else? We're kind of wrapping up here. Is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, this is, I've been, I've been kind of this whole pandemic has kind of put me through a big transition, but I'm kind of like embracing it and I'm kind of happy about it. I think everybody needed a shake up,
Yeah.
I think it's like I think it's like one of those like big shakeups where we won't see the positives for a little while, but I think the world's definitely going to change for the better, especially with arts and entertainment.
Yes.
It's gonna be cool.
Yes, me too. I mean, we have to go through the trenches to get there. And I think we're still, a little bit in the trenches, especially with the live entertainment industry.
Yeah, that's going to totally change.
Yeah. And also of course Stagehands and all of that. I keep thinking of the Stagehands because that's and like I started my career as a stage manager, and I was like, I have no idea how I would, if I was still a stage manager, how you transition to virtual if you don't know.
Oh, people in the Broadway world, Broadway world dancers, like,
that's crazy. But there's opportunity here, and that is to like be transitioning to new types of art. Like you collaborate. Animator. Yeah, another way.
Hashtag another way.
There's always another
hashtag
way.
Believe.
Yes, hashtag believe. Sweet. So David, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, actually. I'm really glad we got to chat. I can't believe it's the first time we've done this and we've known each other for so long. So let's definitely do it again. And good luck with all of your projects.
I got to visit you down in California.
Yeah, well, I'm only here till January, but come on over. We'll go to a show together if we can.
That's great.
I keep wanting to, like, it's my desire to go out and I can't go out, but yeah. And let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, do you have anything in the works that we should be, or a show coming up or anything that you want to promote?
Not right now, but you can stay tuned on my Instagram at DP Believe.
Okay, I will put that in there. And
stay tuned on my Instagram, and you will know what's happening, what's going on. Right now, I've been writing a lot, and I'm kind of demoing out a lot, and I'm going to. I don't have a release date yet, but I have all these like demos that I've done this year. I'm going to release them under the name the Cleveland Tapes because that's the name of the street I live on, Cleveland. Nice. So I'm going to be releasing that. It's going to be like my basement tapes, my David's Greatest Hits Volume 2, but I'm going to be releasing the Cleveland Tapes, so look out for that. That's going to be like some more lo-fi kind of stuff. It's going to be great.
And bring back
in the vein of Turning Grapes, that kind of stuff.
Okay, great. Awesome. I think there's something to look forward to. Cleveland. How do I not know how to spell it? I'm trying to put it hashtag Cleve. I don't know how to spell Cleveland. Oh, there it is. Cleveland Tapes. Okay, there we go. All right, sweet. Well, good luck. And and then also come visit in New York. Next time you're in New York, hit me up. And that would also
Are you going back to New York?
Yeah, January.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I'm there permanently. This is just temporary. And we'll have to get another showcase going, maybe.
I'd love that.
Someday. Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah, I mean, I'm in New York at least once a year.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I'm looking for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
we'll see you later.
Enjoy
Take care.
California.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I will.
Cool,
okay,
man.
take care.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
It's my pleasure. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.